Hi, everybody. Want to take an opportunity now to give you a little bit of an update on how things are going over the course of the summer, and we're very fortunate today to be joined by the Assistant General Manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Kyle Dubas. Before we get going too far, Kyle, I want to just take the opportunity to say thank you for joining us here today.
Oh, it's great to be here, and it's a great day for the Solar Bears and hockey in Orlando, so it's a pleasure to join you, Bob.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Today, the Solar Bears had a chance to formally introduce their new head coach, Anthony Noreen. I know he's somebody that you've been familiar with for a number of years, you spending a good amount of time in the OHL and then Coach Noreen in the USHL, the junior ranks here in the United States. Can you give us your thoughts on Coach Noreen and how you think he'll do here in Orlando?
I think he'll do excellent. I got a lot of belief in Anthony and his ability as a coach. I've watched his teams play over the last number of years. Extremely well prepared. They play with great pace and speed. He really pushes the players to use their skill, make plays with the puck, and they really compete hard, not only in the physical sense and finishing their checks, but in competing for the puck when they don't have it to get it back, and that creates excitement, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So I'm really confident that he's going to do an excellent job here, and we're excited to have our players develop with him here.
And he had a chance to go up to Toronto for the development camp that went on a couple of weeks ago as well, and you had a chance to work with him there and see him as he interacted with some of the top prospects that are in the Toronto Maple Leaf system. Can you give us your thoughts on a little bit of what you saw out of Coach at camp, as well as how camp went as a whole?
Well, it was great to have Anthony at our camp and let him become to get ingrained in the system and the way that our development people, the way that they talk, the way that they act, the way that they teach, and he fit in right away. He had the coaches, whether it's Sheldon Keefe or Scott Pellerin, Sheldon Keefe, who's now our coach of the Marlies, or Scott Pellerin, our director of player development, Daryl Belfry, our skill development consultant. They were all very impressed with Anthony and the level of passion that he brought, the level of preparedness that he brought to the camp, both in his tasks and in learning from those coaches. So it only served to make us more excited about what he's going to offer here in Orlando. He'll join us starting with our rookie tournament on September the 9th and roll right through with us all the way to the end of our NHL training camp and likely through our Marlies exhibition schedule, and then jump back down to Orlando here. But it'll give him another month to become further ingrained with the way that we're doing things with the Leafs and Marlies and learn through osmosis there, and then bring them back to Orlando.
And of course, we had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago as well to hear about Rob Medor, who signed a two-way deal, American Hockey League, and an ECHL contract just a couple weeks back. Can you give us your thoughts on Rob Medor, as well as maybe a little bit of an update on some of the guys that we saw here in Orlando last season, such as Patrick Watling, Brett Finley, those type of players?
Right. Rob is, in thinking that our goalie situation, the way that it's gone, knowing that we probably would need someone here in Orlando to help the team, but also someone with a pedigree that we think they still have potential and can work with our goaltending coach on the development side, Piero Greco, and continue to maximize their potential. Rob's only 27. He's been the MVP of the ECHL playoffs. He didn't, I think last year he didn't have as great a year as the year before, but for us that's what provided the potential with him, and we're very excited. Anthony's a big fan of his character, and we're a fan of the way that he plays and his potential as a goaltender. So it's good to get that out of the way. It's never an easy position to fill, and goaltending is the one thing that when you don't have it, it's not a whole lot of fun. So we feel that with our goaltenders in our system as prospects, with Bebo, Gibson, and Sparks, and now with Rob, that we're pretty well stocked, and that gives us 4 goalies across the board that fill those 4 spots. Now, if there's an injury, then we start to scramble, but that's why it's good to be a little bit over prepared. And with a goalie like Rob, with his pedigree, it'll be a lot of fun to see what he does in our training camp.
Nice to get that type of insight as well, especially because I know Solar Bears fans here got pretty familiar with Rob Medor during the playoffs a couple seasons ago, where he was outstanding for Cincinnati in that first-round matchup against the Solar Bears. So we're certainly excited to potentially have him in the mix down here. Now, one final thing I want to talk to you about before we let you go here today. We saw up and down the coaching ladder with the entire Toronto system this summer. You get Mike Babcock in at the NHL level. How much of a culture change and how much of a shift in expectations does that bring, really from the top down, with all 3 teams getting a new coach?
I think in terms of, in expectations, the expectations are more in terms of process things and not so much results. We've got tremendous expectations of all 3 coaches, Mike Babcock, Sheldon Keefe, and Anthony Noreen, in the way that they're going to coach and develop our players that are on the Leaf roster and our players that are on the Marlies and Solar Bears roster. We believe that all three coaches are going to absolutely maximize the potential of every player that they're coaching, and that's what our expectations are focused on. We're not a team that looks at the end result and uses that right now to measure where we are. We have to be about mastering the process, and if we can master the process, the scoreboard will take care of itself at the end. And that starts with Mike. He's very demanding. He wants players doing things the exact right way on the ice with every single nuance of how they're playing in the gym, in the community, and Sheldon and Anthony, as Anthony's well documented, his teams in Youngstown have behaved that way, and Sheldon's and Sault Ste. Marie have behaved that way. And obviously, there's no need to delve into Mike's pedigree as a coach. He's one of the best coaches in the world and of this generation. So we're very excited about it. Sheldon and Anthony are young coaches, and we've got DJ Smith on our staff with the Leafs as well. That gives us what we feel are three of the best young coaches in hockey, and we're very excited about it.
It's Kyle Dubas, the Assistant General Manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, joining us today. Kyle, really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Bob, and good luck in Rockford.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Appreciate that. That'll do it for us today. Have a nice summer.